Welcome to my channel, YouTube. It's your boy Steven, and in today's video, it's about 5:30. I'm just getting home from work. My wife called me saying, "Hey, the heat is not working." So I ain't the happiest, man. I gotta figure out how to fix this. It just never stops, I guess. It never does. But let's get into the video. Let's go. So we got the heat set on 75, but it's 66 degrees in the house, and that's a problem. So now we're just gonna cut the breakers off. Then we're gonna make our way up to the attic, get everything taken care of, and I'm gonna share with you guys step by step on how we do it. Let's go. All right, I'm in the attic. Just cut the power off, and now I'm about to change out these breakers. These breakers are a lot different than the typical breakers that we normally do in panels. It's like a little clip in the back, just a little hole right there, and it's like a little spring, and that's kind of how you latch it on. So that is what we're about to do. I had to get a 2-pole 30 and 2-pole 60, and we're gonna take these off and reconnect everything else. The first thing I'm gonna do is take off the cover. Once we remove that cover, then I actually show you guys everything that's inside and how it looks, and then we'll actually swap out the breaker. Basically all we'll be doing is replacing the old breaker that went out, and then we'll be putting in the new one. I have an electric air handler. This is not a gas furnace, so everything that keeps the home warm is ran off an electrical heat kit. So you can kind of see these are where the breakers are located right here. My 2-pole 30 is the one that actually went out on me, but I decided to just go ahead and replace both of them at the same time so I didn't have any problems in the future. I already cut the power, but I'm just double checking with my meter to make sure there's no voltage coming in at all, just to be on the safe side. Just trying to build good practice and always being safe about everything. The next thing that we'll be moving on to is actually replacing the breakers. So basically all I'm doing now is just disconnecting the line side from where the power is coming in, and then we'll actually remove the breaker. I'll show you guys exactly how it looked. It was different. I hadn't seen it before, but as you guys can see, you have these 4 forks that are actually going on top of the breakers, and you just tighten the lug up, and that's how the line side was coming in. It was new to me, but you know, wasn't that bad at all. Now here is actually where my master electrician came in here when I was speaking to him about it, and he was kind of telling me that use a flathead, and it's like a little spring in the back of the breaker that kind of helps it come from the latch that's on the back of everything. So if he didn't tell me that, I probably would have been just trying to just pull it off, you know, like your typical breaker in our panels and things like that. So I do appreciate that. Here's the 2-pole 30 square D breaker that we'll be using today. And really the main difference from this one and the one that actually went out, this one we'll be able to just tighten it up with our flathead. The original one, you can actually crimp the wire and slide it into the forks that the old breaker had. So that's basically the main difference. So I'm just going to be taking off each individual wire. We had a blue wire and we had a yellow wire. So I'm cutting the forks off. I'll be stripping it back and then actually just tightening into each section that it goes into the breaker, and then we'll be moving forward and stabbing that back in. This was pretty simple. This was actually the breaker that went out, so we'll be doing the same exact thing to the 2-pole 60 breaker also. But once we get that tied up, now we're going to actually slide it back in the same way we used the flathead to unhinge it from the bracket that it's held to. We have to use that same flathead and lift it up so that you can get it attached back to the bracket that it's actually on. And then once you do that, you're good to go. I'll give it a nice pull and make sure that we're good, and we're on to the next 2-pole 60 breaker. My black and red wire at the top, which will be the line side that's feeding everything. As you guys see, I have a black wire at the bottom and the red wire on the side. That is done incorrectly. That was a temporary fix, but now we're going to fix that permanently, and we're going to tie those 2 wires into the breaker that we are replacing. The black wires will tie in together with the black wires, and the red one will tie in together with the red wire. So basically that's all I'm doing right now. It's just disconnecting that and tighten everything back the way it needs to be. Early in July and August, we had an issue with the AC. The AC wasn't working, and I wasn't sure what to do, so my master electrician kind of helped me out with it. Come to find out, something happened with my thermostat wire, so it wasn't sending the 24 volts to the condenser like it needed it to, so we had to run a whole new wire. So hopefully this is the last time I have to work on my unit for a while. Hopefully we're all good to go. But here, as you guys can see, I'm just snapping off those forks, stripping everything the way it needs to be. Basically, we're just going to repeat the same process that we did with the other breaker. Right now, I'm knocking out my black wire, and once we finish that one, we'll toggle the red ones and knock that out. I definitely wasn't expecting to get that call from my wife telling me that the heater wasn't working, because we had a little cold front in Texas that came out of nowhere, or maybe it did. They probably did say it was coming, but I wasn't watching the news or something like that. But I'm just grateful that I was able to, take care of everything. And I mean, I'm not an HVAC man at all, but it's definitely cool to learn a few things, at least so you can be able to take care of your own unit in case you have any problems, or at least troubleshoot it to kind of see, what the issue is with anything. So definitely appreciative about that. And I'm just trying to learn as much as I can and make the most of every opportunity God blesses me to have. So yeah, I'm very, very appreciative about it. But here, basically I'm just snapping off all of the forks off the red wire. We're going to strip all of those back and tie all of those wires together, and then we'll put them on our breaker and tighten it up and basically kind of latch it back to the bracket that it needs to go. And we'll move forward with this. Who would have thought, me becoming an electrician, that I would have learned a few HVAC things. So I'm definitely appreciative about that. So any of you new electrical apprentices that's going to be joining the trade, us in the trade, man, learn as much as you can while you can. If you're working with people that are willing to teach you, make the most of that opportunity, man, because everybody's not blessed to have that. So definitely make the most of the opportunity, and don't ever take it for granted. We only have a few things left to do now. Here I'm just basically just tightening in all those red wires, and I'm gonna go back over it and do the same thing with my black wires, just to make sure all of my connections are good and tight. We don't want any loose connections at all. And then we'll be placing it back on the bracket where it needs to go. I'm gonna get my flathead and just make sure that it latches on properly. And once we do that, I make sure I give it a good tug, make sure it's not going anywhere. Now it's time to tie my line side to the top of the breaker. If you guys remember the earlier part of the video, it had 4 little prongs, so each one of those will go into an individual lug. And basically I'm just gonna tighten each one to make sure that it's good and tight, so we don't have any loose connections with that. And then we're pretty much done. I definitely feel confident about everything that I did. I just want to make sure that everything is tight and uniform, and we'll go downstairs and basically cut on the breaker and pray that everything works correctly. Here I'm just making sure the wires are good and that they look nice and neat. So then I'll push everything back just so it won't be any problems when I put the cover on. Here I'm getting ready to head downstairs. We will be turning the breaker on. Once we turn the breaker on, I'm gonna head back up there and we're gonna check voltage just to make sure we're getting the right voltage to each breaker. And then we'll turn the thermostat on. So here we are checking everything. This is the line side of power that's coming in, and as you guys see, we got 240, so that's good. Then we're going to check our 2-pole 30 breaker. For that one, you see we have 240 also, and then we'll move to our 2-pole 60 breaker, and we have 245. So let's head downstairs and let's check everything out. Let's go. Just got the breakers back in. We got 240 on the line, 240 on the load, and now we're about to cut the thermostat on, and let's see if this heater kicks in and gets started for the night. It should be about 6:30, we'll see, but it was a little tricky, I'm not an HVAC person, but I'm trying my hardest, man, to do the best that I can. But let's go cut this thermostat on and see if it actually turns on, because I heard the click on the heat when it came on, but it just never did turn everything on and keep it going. So let's see how it goes. Let's go. Time for the moment of truth. Let's see what happens. It turned on. It turned on, y'all. We ain't gotta sleep in the freezing cold. That was a stressful little 10 seconds, but got it done. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. I know it's different, y'all. Just wanted to share that with y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. See y'all in the next one. Honey! It worked! See y'all in the next one. We out.